He never lost a battle. He was the most successful commander that we study in the Western world.
He was a brilliant tactician. He was a brilliant statesman. He was a charismatic individual that sort of exuded an aura about him of power.
If I were making the list of great commanders, I would put Alexander at the top. I truly think he deserves the title.
Welcome to this video day, which is all about achieving Forex trading success by using the art of lateral thinking. Now I'm going to explain what it is as we go through the video, but first of all I've kicked off the video with a clip there of a couple of guys discussing Alexander the Great. He was the greatest general of all time. His tactics were amazing and he was a great lateral thinker. And there's been the contrast made between what it takes to achieve Forex trading success. It is the same as what it takes to win battles, i.e. military battles. And a very popular book for traders is Sun Tzu, The Art of War. And in this video, I really just want to contrast Alexander's tactics and how he won battles with how you win at Forex trading. And in terms of Forex trading, it is a battle. You are fighting in a massive arena trying to take money from everyone else. And you're only small against the market, which is all powerful. So how do you actually win? Well, what I want to do is actually go through a battle that Alexander fought and explain the tactics and the art of lateral thinking, and then apply it to Forex trading. Now, the battle is the Battle of Gaugamela. It changed history at the time, fought in 300 BC between the Macedonians, who Alexander was king of, and the Persians, who were under the command of Darius. Now, this is the perfect example of a small force managing to come out on top. We're only small in the Forex markets. And just to show you the odds that Alexander the Great faced in this battle, I'm just going to show you a short clip courtesy of the History Channel. Then we're just going to go on to discuss his tactics.
On one side is the great king of Persia, Darius, commander of the largest army on earth.
He probably had 200 to 250,000 men on the field.
On the other side is an army 1/5 the size, led by a 26-year-old named Alexander.
He was, at this point in his young life, a veteran commander.
Who was Alexander? How could he possibly face an army 5 times his number?
His tactics are still in use today. His ideas are still in use today.
What was Alexander's secret weapon?
Alexander was a phenomenon.
Welcome back after that short clip, which clearly shows the odds that Alexander faced in the battle, outnumbered 5-1 when his army was in front of the Persians. The Persians overlapped him on each side by a mile. And the reason it's such a great analogy with Forex trading, in my view, is the difference between the armies. The Persian army was far bigger, but it wasn't well trained at all. Whereas Alexander's army was. It was the best army in the world. It was educated in the art of war. It had the strategy, it had the tactics, and it had the discipline to carry out its plan. And if you take Forex trading as a parallel, the majority of Forex traders are simply not well trained. They don't have the right skills. They're not disciplined. They're emotional, and they lose. And in terms of the battle, Alexander knew he could not take on the Persian army head on and win. The numerical advantage was simply too big. So what he did was he used psychology. He was a master psychologist, and he thought up a trading plan to beat them. He just thought laterally to do it. And I think in terms of lateral thinking, it is one of the greatest weapons that we've got when we're trading the market. We can take on a far bigger force and take money from it by just thinking laterally and taking advantage of the mass psychology. Now I just want to discuss lateral thinking now in more detail, but first of all I just want to do another short clip of Alexander working out his plan. And he'd inherited a general from his father, and this clip illustrates perfectly Alexander's lateral way of thinking.
Alexander's chief general is Parmenio, a seasoned cavalry commander.
Parmenio was one of Philip's most trusted generals. He was also of the old school. He was one of the only generals that regularly stood up and argued with Alexander.
And in some cases, Alexander would ask Parmenio for advice, knowing that he would get a conservative answer from Parmenio. And therefore, he would understand how a conservative commander would view a certain situation. And oftentimes, he would then use that information to develop a plan that would counter a conservative reaction.
The youthful Alexander may not be worried about being outnumbered 5-1, but the old general is. He wants to attack at night, while the enemy sleeps.
Tigar, a pelican planastay ke poye ke farme ora derian.
Welcome back up that short clip, which is Alexander in conversation with one of his generals. He wanted to find out what the consensus view was, and he would think laterally against it. Now, all lateral thinking is basically getting statements that are obvious and questioning them, looking for errors. Now, in terms of that clip, at the end he said it'd be dishonourable to attack at night. He wasn't really thinking that at all. He might have said it, but his real logic was that if his general thought it was a great idea to attack at night, that was the consensus view. So that's what Darius thought. So Darius was going to leave his troops up all night. So why not let his troops rest, let the Persians tire themselves out? He also concluded that attacking such a large force at night where he couldn't see them wasn't such a smart idea. You need to see where the whole army was. So that's just an example of lateral thinking. Now, in terms of Forex trading, you need to think laterally if you want to win. You need to question everything. This goes in terms of your strategy and tactics, and also in terms of psychology. Now, what I mean by this is if you look around online, you'll find plenty of advice on how to win at Forex trading. And most of it is the same. So you need to question it. If that is the consensus view of how to win at Forex trading, the majority of traders lose, then possibly it's not the best thing to do. So let's take a few obvious examples in my view. How do most traders trade the markets? What time frame do they use? Well, they use scalping and day trading strategies. Well, if you look at scalping and day trading, and get your education and have an in-depth look, you'll see it doesn't work. The odds are just not there. You're not going to win longer term. Also, look at the tactics and strategies that the majority of traders use. Well, most traders like to use predictive methods. They'll use robots. They'll use those predictive strategies that you'll see so often, Fibonacci and Elliott wave. They're supposed to be scientific strategies. Well, if we're fighting in a human arena, how on earth can they work? Science has got no application in Forex trading. It's basically a human market. So, you need to discount them. You just need to go and question everything that is obvious. Same that goes for chart setups. When you have got your strategy together, let's say you see a great chart setup, look at it and then think, how do other traders see it? Look around online, see what the consensus is. If most other traders think it's a great chart setup, you need to be wary of it. Also, look around to see the psychology of traders and when they come to a consensus, i.e. on a currency pair, where you'll often see statements like, there is no way that currency cannot reach X level. Now, if the majority are saying that, then the chances are it's not going to reach that level. So you want to be thinking contrary. So what you need to do is, when you're getting your education, just question everything that is presented to you. Then when you have your own strategy together, question everything to do with the chart setups that you say. Okay, you want to avoid the majority, and you need to have that lateral way of thinking in everything you do. Question the obvious. If it's obvious, it's obviously wrong, is the old saying. Now, Once you've got a strategy together, I've said it in other videos, it can be very simple. But what you need to do is implement that strategy in the market. Now, when you're doing this, you need to have certain skills, okay? Now, the skills that you need to implement a strategy successfully are perfectly illustrated by the way Alexander actually won the battle that we have been discussing. I just want to come and show you a clip of the pivotal point of the battle and how it was won, and then we'll discuss the skills Alexander used on the battlefield and transfer them to Forex trading. So when the armies lined up, what happened? Alexander marched towards the Persian line, but he let a big proportion of his army go up against the Persians. He then did something unique at the time. He took his cavalry and he started to walk sideways and off the battlefield. It had never been seen before. Why did he do it? Because he knew the psychology of the opposition. So just a very quick clip and then we'll discuss it.
Alexander and his cavalry continue to ride to the right, neither charging nor retreating. Darius's cavalry keeps pace to prevent the Macedonians from attacking his flank.
Alexander angled his force farther and farther and farther off of the killing zone, and he actually went kind of out of the whole prepared field that Darius had set up for him, making Darius pull cavalry out of his line to keep from being outflanked. And as Darius pulled that cavalry out of his line, the line thinned out in the middle.
And as that happens, the center of the Persian line cannot shift left to cover the hole that's left. Alexander then spots the gap in the Persian line of battle.
Alexander's unorthodox approach to the battle has thrown the Persian army into disarray and has opened a gap in their line. But how can he exploit it?
Like all great field commanders, he feels the moment when that door opens.
Awage! El Dorado!
In an amazing move, Alexander turns his entire cavalry 160 degrees and charges toward the gap in the Persian line.
Welcome back after that short clip. And after Alexander's cavalry crashed into the weak spot of the Persian army, it basically scattered, and the battle was effectively won. And in the battle itself, he used every skill that we need as Forex traders to win in the market. So what are the key skills that he used? Well, the first one was patience. He had the patience to just walk along the Persian line without doing anything, and just wait for the gap to emerge. He knew psychologically that the Persians were going to throw troops out against him. It would create a gap. He could go in and hit that gap. Now, in terms of Forex trading, traders are not patient enough to wait for the high odds probability trade. They want to take the markets on head on. They take low probability trades and they lose. You actually have to wait for the market to give you a high odds probability trade. And we know they're going to come. Psychologically, we know traders are going to push prices too far to the upside or too far to the downside. Too many traders are going to be long or short. That will allow us to come in with a contrary high odds trade. Now, another key skill for Forex trading success is undoubtedly discipline. It's quoted frequently by many people, but most traders still really do not understand how much discipline it takes to win at Forex trading. Great generals know that discipline is essential. Now you imagine the discipline that Alexander had to have to walk along that line while he's already sent his troops against the Persian front line and they're already taking losses. Must have taken incredible discipline. And when you look at Forex markets and you look at a lot of the hype on the net, there's not much talk about taking losses, and traders are unprepared for losses when they come in the markets and to take them. But you have to be prepared for losses. It's like saying, you're going to come into a battle and not lose any troops. Of course you're going to lose troops. You just want to lose as few as possible. in the markets, you just want to keep those losses as small as possible until you can compensate for them with a high probability trade to win the battle longer term, so to speak. Alexander's other main trait, and it's a key one that Forex traders should keep in mind, was that only his opinion mattered. He was supremely confident in what he was going to do at all times. And too many Forex traders are not confident in themselves. They don't have supreme confidence. And they hesitate, or they take tips from others. If you want to win at Forex trading, you have to have total confidence in what you're doing. And there's no way around it. You are on your own in the Forex markets. And you need to basically act decisively and react to what you see. I think that's another key trait of the great generals. Alexander didn't predict how that battle was going to go at all. He basically went into battle and reacted to what he saw and adjusted his tactics accordingly. It could have gone in many different ways. He didn't know which way it was going to go, but he was pretty confident that he was going to win. And I think, when you look at your charts, all chart setups are subtly different. The market is always going to do something to surprise you. There's no point in trying to predict what other humans are going to do. You just need to basically wait and react to what you see. Another key trait for Forex trading success is basically being humble and having respect for the market. Now, if you took Alexander, he was actually quite a humble guy when he wasn't fighting battles, and he always had respect for his opponent. He never underestimated what he faced. I think a lot of Forex traders come in with a kind of cocky arrogance, or they at some point get overconfident, and that is very, very dangerous. All the great generals are humble guys and respect the enemy. All great Forex traders are basically humble and respect the markets. And I think if you actually do read up on great military generals and great military battles, there's a lot you can actually glean from them in terms of achieving Forex trading success. I mentioned Sun Tzu, The Art of War, earlier on, which I've done some videos on, which I'd recommend you go and check out. But I think there's a lot we can learn from Alexander, the way he won the battle that we've just been discussing. And I've presented Forex trading in a different way today, just to bring it to the reality of what winning at Forex trading is all about. It is a battle, and it is a battle that we can win. And if we learn from Alexander the Great, I think we've got the chance of achieving some great profits in the Forex market. So I hope you enjoyed the video and the way it was presented today. Take care, and I will speak to you soon.